The Danville Riverhawks open up their inaugural season in December, and you can become a season ticket holder. Season tickets start at just $50. Contact DanvilleRiverhawks.com or call 217-866-1248. Danville Riverhawks, we fly high. Welcome to the Press Box.
Today, I consider myself the luckiest man on the face of the earth.
Hello, you play to win the game.
Get in here! Hey, we got 30 minutes for the rest of our lives! 30 minutes for the rest of our lives! Well, Pat.
There's a drive, way back, right speed,
Welcome to the Press Box. I am Keith Gibson. Alongside with me today, Newhoff Media Sports guy Matthew Gokin. And Matthew is third time here. We've got a great show lined up for you today. We're going to have a new segment called The Fastest 6 Minutes in Sports. We're also going to talk to Kyle Drone of Dinger Bats. Dinger Bats, one of the premier wooden bat companies in America. And Kyle's going to be with us and tell us kind of how they got started and where they're at today, including their newest client, Matt Adams of the St. Louis Cardinals. And then we'll talk a little Illini football to end the show and what's going to be a great podcast for you. So buckle in, and we're going to start the day off with the fastest 6 minutes in sports, Matt. And are you ready?
I am. Let's go.
Okay, our first topic is Ray Rice.
Well, first off, you don't have to see the video to know what happened with Ray Rice, but I feel bad for everyone affected by this. He was totally in the wrong. I agree with the suspension, the ban on the NFL, and personally, I hope that he doesn't ever play again.
Well, I agree with you, Matt. I think it makes me sick. Let's just be honest. It makes me sick of what he did. No man should hit a woman. But my question is to you. Roger Goodell and the NFL had to see what happened, and Goodell's already came out and said he made a mistake and given him the 2-game suspension where it should have been longer. Is it because he saw the video? I'm not sure. I don't think we'll ever find out if Goodell and the NFL saw the video. My question to you is, should Goodell resign?
I don't think he should because TMZ Sports never released the video to the NFL prior to that suspension. It's a little fishy that they release it all after week 1.
All right, let's go. Our second question is the St. Louis Cardinals in first place. What's your take?
Well, a lot of help from the Milwaukee Brewers and the Chicago Cubs, but the Cardinals are rolling right now, and it's good to see the Cardinals getting hot for the postseason because we all know once they get hot and rolling into the postseason, they are scary for any team.
Yeah, the Cardinals are red hot right now. They're getting the offense, and it's been a complete change since Yadier Molina's come back from injury. And I think everybody knew that's what would happen. Molina comes back, they start winning, but they're getting good pitching, and it's almost October. And we always know, as much as I hate to say this, the Cardinals are great in September and October, and they're getting hot at the right time. So third topic, the Chicago Bears and Jay Cutler. Is he the quarterback you want for the next 4 years and $54 million?
Well, personally, I go back and forth with this one. He looks great, and then you play the Buffalo Bills and he loses. There's a couple decisions that he needs to make that are better decisions, and then a couple other times him and his receivers are just not on the same page. But for the Chicago Bears, I don't know where you go if you get rid of Jay Cutler.
If it's not Jay Cutler, is that defense good enough to win that division?
No, it's not.
I agree with you totally. I think there's big holes in there. And Chris Conte got shoved around and shoved back to kindergarten on Sunday by Fred Jackson. And what I saw was the most pathetic defensive attempted a tackle in the NFL in a long time.
Well, don't forget last year he was the one that allowed the Packers to make the playoffs. But I always say Chris Conte made the top 10 this week for the wrong reason, though.
That's right. He was in the not top 10. So our fourth topic is the Indianapolis Colts. Andrew Luck struggled early. The Colts struggled early, the running game. Are they going to have to go somewhere else besides Trent Richardson to win the division and possibly make the playoffs?
Well, I think the Colts win the division regardless of what Trent Richardson does, just because that division is a little bit down. I think they might get a little pressure from the Tennessee Titans, who had a big win over the Chiefs. I think I may have been a couple of the only people that saw that one coming. But then the Houston Texans now with Jadeveon Clowney out. But if you look at both of those teams, Jake Locker, not really a future quarterback, and Texans, they don't have a quarterback either. So I think Luck can win the division, but they definitely have to step up on the running game.
Question number 5 is Chicago Blackhawks start in 30 days, Matt.
Well, for the Chicago Blackhawks, they're probably going to get back into the NHL playoffs once again. So, of course, they got Kane, Tays, Hosa, and then Crawford in goal. So they'll be ready once again once the season rolls back around. But all of those guys pretty much getting big contracts with a couple signees this year. So I look forward to the Blackhawks once again.
I do too. I think it's going to be a fun season for the Blackhawks. And you're right, the big contracts came out this year. Spent a little bit more money, brought some guys back. I look for the Blackhawks to be another playoff team. I look for them just to keep their success rolling. And if you haven't been to a game, it's one of the fun, most exciting times that I've been to as a Blackhawks game because it's just so raucous in there.
Exactly, and not only that, the Blackhawks, one of three teams, the biggest favorite to win the Stanley Cup again.
Question number 6 is, will we see a high school football team in the area go undefeated?
I think you'll see a team go undefeated, but I don't know how far they can get. If you look at St. Joseph Ogden, they went to the state championship game last year, and we don't know how far they can get back this year. We'll just have to wait and see, but with the head coach of Dick Duval and that offense that St. Joe has once again, and not only that, the offense, but the defense as well. So maybe you can see St. Joe and maybe a team. I know Bismarck Henning lost last week, but I think there's a couple teams that can make a deep run in the playoffs. But undefeated, I think you have to go outside of the VBC to St. Joe.
Our final question in our Fast Six, our 6 fastest minutes in sports. Question number 7, our final question in our fastest 6 minutes of sports is, do the Illini basketball team get a 5-star recruit this offseason?
No, they do not. I think Illinois has to perform well to get that big guy. They lost Cliff Alexander last year, who halfway committed to them, I'll say. But it's going to be tough for the Illini, but they'll definitely be middle of the pack and above in Big Ten basketball. And hopefully they can land that recruit somewhere out of Chicago or out of the middle, or East Central, excuse me.
I will call it right now, and this may air after the fact, but Jalen Brunson is scheduled to make his announcement Wednesday, 4 o'clock, September the 10th. I say it's between him and Villanova. I say Brunson comes to Illinois. I say he makes a major impact, and John Gross really starts his big recruiting. That's your fastest 6 minutes in sports here on the Press Box with Keith Gibson. We'll be right back with Dinger Bat owner Kyle Drone as we start talking a little baseball. You're listening to the Press Box with Keith Gibson. Welcome back to the Press Box. I am Keith Gibson, and we've had a great show so far for you today. And gonna have on the line with me right now Kyle Drone, and Kyle is from Dinger Bats, and Dinger Bats is one of the premier wooden bats in America. And Kyle, thank you for joining me today here on the Press Box.
Thank you for having me.
And Kyle, now tell us a little background story on how things kind of got started with Dinger Bats.
We've been around about 10 years now. Actually going into our 11th year, and kind of started when I was in college. I was a bullpen catcher for the Chicago Cubs AA team in Jackson, Tennessee, where I went to college and played ball. As I was there, I started getting a real interest in the different types of bats and models and companies that were out there. And as I got more into it, I started suggesting to the guys, hey, if I made some bats, would you try them out? And kind of pitched the idea to my dad, and thought it was crazy at first, but after a little while he kind of warmed up to it, and next thing you know, he called me and said he bought a lathe, and then we started spinning bats.
So you guys have actually done it in-house, spinning your own bats now for a while, correct?
Yes.
So now that you've kind of grown a little bit, do you actually have a facility that spins the bats for you?
Well, we have a facility. It is in our hometown. It's our factory that we own. Most of my employees are actually family, cousins, brothers, and of course my dad. But yeah, we have a little more automated setup, but there still is a lot of hands-on work that has to be done for the craftsmanship side of the bats, and we take a lot of pride in that. I still program all the bats, and I've got me and another guy do most of the cutting.
Now, as far, Kyle, as where you guys are in Ridgeway, correct?
Yes.
Ridgeway, Illinois. Now, for people who don't know where Ridgeway is at, especially up in my area, up here in the Champaign, Danville area, let everybody know kind of where Ridgeway is located at in Illinois.
We're in the tri-state area of, southeastern corner of the state. We're about 17 miles directly east of Harrisburg, Illinois, and we're about an hour, maybe an hour and 10 minutes southeast of Mount Vernon, Illinois.
So that kind of gives you an idea, everybody, of where it's located and how you can start a business on your own. But you've done a fantastic job. Now, Kyle, I've seen your work. I actually have one of your dinger bats from when I coached down in Florida for one of the wooden bat tournaments down there, and you guys were a great sponsor of the wooden bat tournament. And is that kind of how you've grown yourself into the company you have, in the fact that you've grown it from small hometown tournaments into what now you've got major leaguers and minor leaguers using your bats on a regular basis?
Yeah, absolutely. The grassroots approach, as we call it, has been a huge part of our business, and obviously starting in our home area of Southern Illinois and branching out as we can. And you mentioned the tournament in Florida was one of the first, actually the first tournament that we got involved with, and the guys there really had a great concept and a very the guys at Florida were, had a lot of drive to put on one of the best tournaments in the area. And even now we're doing tournaments with other towns along with Florida, but they all try to copy or reproduce what the Florida product was.
And that's a compliment to those guys down there. And I'm proud to say that I grew up there and am friends with those guys who put it on, because they do such a great job. And it's not just the tournament alone, it's the experience the kids get as well. And they remember that name. They remember Dinger. They remember, the bat that they used and how it felt. And that's a lifelong thing that you're putting into them. So when they grow old, they tell the kids. It's like a concurrent situation where they just pass down the name Dinger. And that's kind of where the homegrown is really about in Dinger, isn't it?
Absolutely.
So now you guys have grown from that. How did you get started getting guys like, you got your player list on dingerbats.com. How did you get guys like Alan Craig, like Starling Marte, like Big Country Matt Adams to use your bats?
Well, like I said, we've been in it about 11 years, or this is our 11th year, and, we have really, the biggest thing we've done is built relationships with the clubhouse managers at all levels, from single A all the way up to the big league clubhouse. And what that's allowed us to do is get access to the players that a lot of other companies don't, and, obviously just the random fan. But we go to spring training every year for 2 weeks. I do Florida with another one of my sales reps, and my father goes out to Arizona with a sales rep. And we go around all the clubs, and we get there with some samples. We go out to the cages, talk to the guys, and sit around during BP and just try to build a relationship with them, get them to try our product, and then go from there. And just overall, just be right there and provide the best service possible.
Now, I've seen your logo, too, as well, which is a pretty awesome logo. So if you haven't been on to dingerbats.com or want some more info on it, you can always check out their website as well. Testimonials, you've got bats you can look at right there as well on the website. And but as far as making that relationship with these players, who would you say who was your first big-time client that you had that really was using the Dinger bats?
Well, when we first started, Brad Wilkerson was our number one guy.
Former Expo, correct?
Yeah, absolutely. Out of Owensboro, Kentucky. I actually played ball against him, when I was in summer between school, and that's how I got to know him. When he got up, he was one of the first ones to use our product at that level. And then more recently, once we really made a push, Hunter Pence used us in his first year that he made the All-Star team, and every year since. He has mixed in some other companies, but he was probably our first superstar, let's say.
Well, that's pretty awesome. Coming from a Southern Illinois community that had an idea and it's grown to what you guys do, that's something you got to be very proud of as well.
Yeah, absolutely. Without being cliche, we're living the dream. Baseball has been a huge part of my life and my dad's life, both from playing and a fan perspective, and we get to do what we love every day, and it just seems to be getting better and better.
Well, I completely understand that. Doing what I do every day is what I've always wanted to do, and getting to talk baseball, especially with great guys like yourself, Kyle, who I've seen your product, have used the product, and I will vouch for you and say it's one of the best wooden bats I've ever used. It's a great product, great guys, you're a great company, and the thing I really like about you guys also is you give back. You're there on site when you run a tournament. You're there around. You can answer questions and do things like that, which a lot of companies don't do, and that's what sets you apart from a lot of different baseball companies. You know, you got your routine baseball and all these others that you don't see them out and about, but you guys are actually there on site, making sure your product's being used and answering questions. I think that's pretty awesome.
Thank you. And, yeah, we definitely, want to interact with the customer and the young ball player and give them the best product possible. And, like I said, to answer any questions that they may have about wood bats, if they're unfamiliar with the products.
So what's something you could actually tell listeners that, sets you guys apart from, besides, your homegrown, your things, is there anything different that you guys do with your bats to make them or design them or anything that makes them separate from other bats? Is there a certain different wood or anything like that?
Well, not different wood, but we like to think that we go that extra mile to make sure that we're only using the highest quality wood. We only want to put out a number one product, a top grade product, a premier product, if you will, and that's kind of what we feel like sets us apart. And then the second thing would be just our service. You're talking with the owner of the company or one of the owners of the company, and we're not going to just pass you off to a rep or someone else that is down the line to answer questions that we'd be happy to work with you on.
So Kyle, let me ask you this: is your ultimate goal to have your bats used by every single minor and major league baseball player playing the game? Is that kind of your ultimate goal as a company?
Actually, no. I don't think that's, it'd be great in a perfect world, but I want to get a pretty good group of guys that we can give the best product to and the best possible service to, and hopefully slowly grow from there. If it ever turned into every single guy at every level was using our bats, yeah, absolutely, that'd be amazing, but I just don't think that's a possibility.
Well, you never know, it could happen, and the
Right.
Cubs could win a World Series. Now, being a Southern Illinois guy, I got to ask you, we'll have a little fun here. Cardinal Cub guy.
Grew up Cardinals, worked for the Cubs, loved baseball overall. I commonly watch all my guys that swing our bats, and like for example, when the Pirates are playing the Cardinals, I hope Marte goes 4 for 4 with 4 home runs, and the Cardinals win 5-4.
Well, that's a perfect scenario, and I think you're a lot like me, a baseball guy, and if that's a business, that's what you want to. As long as your team wins, but your guys have great days, that's always
Right.
good. Kyle, now tell everybody where they can kind of go and see what kind of bats you have, because you can order bats whether you're minor league, major league, whether you're little league, Pony League, Babe Ruth, whatever you want to, every age group you have bats for. Where can they go to find your bats?
Right now, the best way is our website. It's www.dingerbats.com, and we also allow people to walk in or call in and schedule tours for Little League teams or school classes or something like that. So you can always reach us at 618-272-7250 and either order over the phone, set up a tour, or just check out our hours to pop in.
Well, Kyle, we appreciate you joining us on the Press Box today. And one final question: what can we expect? Let me rephrase that. Who can we expect to be swinging a dinger bat in the near future?
Oh, we got a lot of great young prospects coming up. One of our newest signings has been Kyle Schwarber, the number 1 draft pick for the Chicago Cubs out of University of Indiana. We're looking for him to really fast track it to the big leagues, and then we've got about a dozen guys on the 40-man rosters for various teams. One being Trevor Gretzky, who is with the Angels now, and he is the son of the great one, Wayne Gretzky.
That's not always a bad thing to have.
Yeah, but we're pretty excited about that as well. So, and who knows who we'll get tomorrow.
Well, ladies and gentlemen, when you're watching your next baseball game, make sure you check out what bats they're using. It might just be a Dinger bat. Make sure you go to dingerbats.com. Check out their full line of bats, players list, so you can see who's using a Dinger bat, so you can kind of have an eye on what's going on in baseball. And Kyle, thank you for joining us on the Press Box. It's been an absolute pleasure. I love talking baseball all the time. And hopefully maybe we can get you back on come postseason. We can talk a little postseason baseball as well.
Okay, Keith, that sounds great.
All right, Kyle Drone of Dinger Bats. We appreciate him joining us today here on the Press Box. We'll be back here in just a moment with our third segment, and we'll talk Illini football. Back here in just a moment. That you're listening to the Press Box with Keith Gibson. Welcome back to the Press Box. I am Keith Gibson. Matthew Gokin had to step out, so you get me the rest of the way. We'll only be with you for a few more minutes, but in those few minutes, we are going to talk Illini football. The Illini 2-0, and we'll hit the road for the first time in 2014 this Saturday when they head to Seattle to face the 2-0 Washington Huskies at 3 o'clock. That game will be on Fox. If you're looking to watch it on TV, you can always tune in to if you're around the Danville-Champaign area, D102, 102.1, or 1490 WDAN, as we'll have the pregame and the actual kickoff for you at 3 o'clock on our sister stations. The Illini had to mount two fourth-quarter comebacks en route to their 2-0 start. They trailed Youngstown State 9-7 after three quarters before ripping off 21 fourth-quarter points to win, going away 28-17. And then Western Kentucky, the Illini trailed back and forth game all day long. They trailed by 6 going into the fourth and then scored 21 straight on the way to the 42-34 victory. It's the first time the Illini has executed consecutive fourth-quarter comebacks wins since the 2001 season. They did that against Penn State in November 10th of 01 and Ohio State November 17th of 01. A great year in 01 as well. So, this team has surprised some. Sophomore quarterback Wes Lunt followed up the best quarterback debut in school history. Of course, 285 yards passing and 4 touchdowns versus Youngstown State. With an even better performance last Saturday, Lunt nearly broke the Memorial Stadium passing record with 456 yards in the win over the Hilltoppers. Just 6 yards shy of Juice Williams' stadium record from 2008. And Juice actually was in attendance last Saturday, as was I. So Lunt's been playing very well in the fourth quarter. He's 19 of 22 for 309 with 4 touchdowns, 0 picks, and is good for an FBS best 264.34 QBR, quarterback efficiency rating. Also leads the nation in fourth quarter passing yards with 309. So Lunt is doing it for the offense. Both him and wide receiver Mike Dudek took home Big Ten honors this week. Lunt was the co-offensive player of the week, and Dudek was the freshman of the week honors in the Big Ten for his 4 catches, 55 yards, and a touchdown, giving the true Frosh a touchdown in each of his first 2 games. What's really interesting about the Illini so far has been the play of the defense. And the defense has, even though they've given up some points, 17 to Youngstown State, and then double that last week, 34 to a very high-powered Western Kentucky team, they've made plays at the right time. So it's good to see that the Illini defense has maybe made some changes, but we'll really see what they have come Saturday at Washington. And the Huskies, by any means, are going to bring the heat against the Illini offense. So it's going to be very interesting to see what the Huskies do bring. Just so you kind of have what Wes Lunt has done so far, he's 59 of 88 for 741 yards, 7 touchdowns, and a pick so far this season. That first 2 games obliterates the previous record, which was held by, you ready for this? Tony Eason. The first 2 games as an Illini quarterback, he had 498 in his first 2 starts, and 3 quarterbacks shared the record for touchdowns with 3, which Lunt obliterated as well. That was Nathan Shieldhouse, Jason Verdusco, and Jack Trudeau. So a little interesting thought for you there. One interesting thing is we haven't really seen Aaron Bailey on the field, and Bailey, an athlete, kind of moved back into third-string quarterback, but somebody I think you're going to have to look for Coach Tim Beckman to get on the field here very soon. So we'll see. Washington leads the all-time series against the Illini 6-4 after beating the Illini 34-24 at Soldier Field last year. That's the team's last meeting since 1972. The teams are 2-2 with games played in Champaign, while Washington holds a 3-1 margin in Husky Stadium. So it'll be very interesting to see. Now, some guys we have to watch out for. Defensive back Eaton Spence, career-high 14 tackles. What's some of the highlights for the Illini, what they did. Eaton Spence last year with a career-high 14 tackles. So we'll see. Vangelo Bentley had 6 tackles, 1 tackle for loss, and 4 return kicks for 105 yards last year as well. So it'll be interesting to see what they do. Now, the Illini has not played well against the Pac-12, so I'm really not sure what to take from this. The Illini are 29-47 all-time against current Pac-12 teams, and 11-21 when they go on the road. So it'll be all very interesting to see how the Illini react, and I'm sure it'll be loud. I'm sure it will be not a friendly environment, but it's definitely what you want the Illini. It's a good test for them early on. Washington is ranked number 25 right now. They had a 59-52 win over Eastern Washington last week, and they struggled mightily in week 1 as well. So it's not a gimme right now as far as what they could do. Now, they did fall, I said number 25. That was in week 1. Last week they fell. This week they fell out of the top 25. So Washington's struggling so far, but it's something they're going to be very, very anxious to see how that happens. Once again, the Illini need to keep the offense going, pick up the defense a little bit, and I think they could be a better game than people expected. If the Illini get a win Saturday against the Huskies, it'll be something great to see, and it'll be 3-0 going into Texas State the following week, which they have now released that game time for 3 o'clock. Tickets are available for the Texas State game, and if anybody needs some tickets, I might just have a couple stashed somewhere, because I will be at the game, but I'll be in the press box. So let me know if that, and maybe I can score you a pair. I'm not real sure if I can or not, but I might be able to, so just hit me up. But the Illini looking good, 2-0 on the season, looking to go 3-0, and this week will really tell us whether that's a team that is just toying with us and can possibly be a bowl team, because the Big Ten is, let's face it, is really, really down. It's awful. And by the way, Ryan Martin, if you're listening out there, that steak dinner and drinks are going to be fantastic. Thank you, Notre Dame, for beating Michigan. But anyway, the Illini, back to the Illini. Saturday, 3 o'clock, we'll see if they're a pretender or if they could contend for a bowl. I'm not saying they're going to contend for the Big Ten, which, and this year, I'm not sure if anybody wants that job, but we'll see what they have. Illini, 3 o'clock. We've had a great show for you today, the fastest 6 minutes in sports. Let me know. Tweet me, Facebook message me. Let me know kind of what you thought of the fastest 6 minutes in sports, if it's something you want to continue seeing, or if it's just something that you're okay with. Also, you can tweet me, Facebook message me with any ideas, what you'd like to hear as well. I want to thank Kyle Drone for visiting with me this week. Kyle Drone, of course, the owner of Dinger Bats, which is a great, nationally known and very much used in Major League and Minor League Baseball wooden bat company. So we look forward to that. And next week, if you got anybody who wants to be on the show, give me a holler. I'm always up to take phone calls, always up to do a little phone talk. And if you just want to talk sports, we can do that too. I am Keith Gibson. You've listened to the Press Box this week. I hope to hear from you very soon. Don't forget you can follow me on Facebook with the Press Box with Keith Gibson, or on Twitter at Keith_Gibson13. This is the Lyrical Miracle, sexual intellectual man made of steel and sex appeal, the quintessential stud muffin, every woman's dream, every man's nightmare. You have listened to the Press Box with Keith Gibson. Make sure to look me up soon. Say hi and stay safe, everybody. It is high school football, it is college football, and it's the NFL season right now, plus October. So we'll have all the sports for you right here on the Press Box with Keith Gibson.
Today, I consider myself the luckiest man on the face of the earth.
0.9. Tie game at 72. Illinois to inbound to the corner. Brandon Paul looking to inbound. Gets it to Griffey. Layup.
Smith, 420 to right, down the line.